And initially, as I was studying fascination and how our brains are hardwired to connect with certain people, with certain ideas, with certain types of messages, I was studying it through the lens of marketing. And I realized that there are 7 different ways that a brand can potentially fascinate. And that you can take any type of message, a political speech, a love story, and you could put them into these 7 different categories. And as my research expanded, since then, I've measured over 700,000 people. And the body of research that we have developed on the science of fascination is extremely deep and extremely specific, going inside of companies like AT&T, Twitter, Coca-Cola, Porsche. What we found is that people respond in certain ways, and then oftentimes these responses are involuntary. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to show you just how involuntary your own responses are sometimes, not just in the context of brands and companies and business, but also in relationships. First, I'm going to talk about this as it relates. I'm going to talk about fascination as a hardwired force of attraction. And I want to go a little bit deep here. I want to really go into just how many of your decisions are being driven by this ancient force of fascination, whether you realize it or not. And then I'm going to show you how to apply this in a business context so that you can make a better first impression, you can have more fulfilling relationships, you can grow a stronger team, and ultimately a stronger brand. So first, we're going to start on the personal level, and then we're going to ladder up to business. Sound good? If that sounds good, raise your hand. Yes? Okay. Whoop, whoop. Okay, awesome. Fascination is an intense neurological state of focus. It is literally your brain's most powerful force of attraction for attracting other people or being attracted to them. When your brain is in a state of fascination, it opens up almost like you're falling in love. When I worked with neurologists and biological anthropologists, we talked to historians. We explored fascination all the way through birth, all the way through our lives. And what we found is that when you look at the brain in a state of fascination, the brain is open and fully lit up exactly the same way it is when you see an object of your affection or when you're infatuated. I want you to think of a time when you feel fascinated. For example, I love playing with my kids, and in those moments, time goes by quickly. I love being able to be with them. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not checking my iPhone or thinking about my meeting the next day. You might experience fascination when you're reading a great book. It's that state of flow, that state of focus where you're energized on just one thing. One researcher I talked to said it was very much like meditation, because when you're fascinated, your brain isn't cluttered and distracted and stressed because you're having a confident, energized moment. Athletes call the state of fascination being in the zone. And when you think of an athlete performing at their absolute highest level, what they're doing is being consumed in the moment, single-mindedly focusing on the physical feat that they're trying to achieve. You also experience fascination when you're doing something that requires a lot of muscle memory. In other words, your brain and your body are fully united, you are completely confident, and this is when you're going to perform at your highest level. In our research, we found that there's a direct correlation between how fascinated you are by your work and how much money you make. We find that people who make over $50,000 US a year are twice as fascinated by their work as those who make less than $50,000 a year. Now, when you think about your own work, you probably find that there are moments when you are intensely energized and focused. The time seems to go by, and these are the moments when you're at your peak of creativity and you're most likely to make the big quantum leaps that you need to in order to be successful in business. But the same is true in your relationships. When you create fascinating experiences with your loved ones, you have a big leap forward in those moments of actually bonding. Here's what the brain looks like in a state of fascination. When you are fascinated by something, your barriers drop. You are no longer cynical. You're completely in the moment. You're not in a state of no. You are in a state of yes. So the key in creating great relationships is to help the person that you're talking to not feel distracted or confused, but instead feel fully focused and engaged with you and in the flow, because this is when you're going to have your peak bonding moments. When you fascinate somebody, you become most worthy of attention. This is true if you're talking to a client in a big pitch. It's true if you are trying to recruit new talent to your company. It's true if you're doing a meeting. It's true if you're doing a webinar at 5 a.m. When you fascinate somebody, you become most worthy. And so if you think about how you want to add value to your business, the best way to add value is to make sure that you are most worthy of attention in a crowded and distracted marketplace.